as the beauty fades, as, all those things on the surface that initially attract us to each other change as they were, supposed to, we are left with something that's so much more than that deep connection. And, we are 3-part beings, spirit, soul, and body. And so as 3-part beings, I think there are 3 different areas of intimacy within our marriage. And so if we get to this place of feeling like, I'm not my spouse's type anymore, my spouse isn't my type anymore, that feels like a very superficial statement. Right. But I think the heart of it is that something feels like it's missing. Something that initially drew us to each other feels like it's missing. And so what would you say to someone who says, can that intimacy be rekindled? Welcome back to the Greater Marriage Podcast with the Millers. And you guessed it, we are the Millers. Thanks so much for tuning in with us today. Babe, for the new people who maybe haven't been around for a while, why don't you give a fun fact to the class? A fun fact about yourself.
A fun fact about myself. Oh, man.
I purposely didn't prep you for that one.
Yeah. Why don't you give a fun fact about me? How about I give one about you?
Oh, shoot.
And you give one about me. I'm going to spin this back right here.
Ooh, this one may come up later in the episode. Fun fact about Dustin.
Sneaky athletic.
Sneaky athletic. I mean, if you consider Taekwondo athletic,
hey, easy.
That was my fun fact, that Dustin got his black belt in Taekwondo.
I actually didn't get my blood. But I appreciate it.
Even worse.
It's actually a really tough subject, to be honest. Really sore subject. I did do martial arts for 5 years. I was training for the Junior Olympics. I mean, I was pretty good at it. I was decent. Mm-hmm. But, didn't work out.
What's your fun fact about me?
Fun fact about Heather, if people don't know, you were Miss Missouri teen.
Oh, Lord.
At 16 years old, beating out 250 other girls who were 17 and 18. Unbelievable. And your talent.
I talked. It was not singing. Motivational speaking. Wow.
Look at God.
Look at God. Go off, Lord.
Was a motivational, I guess you could say, speech about, come on,
saving yourself for marriage. Go on.
And she did.
I did.
You saved yourself for marriage twice.
Okay, hold on. Disclaimer. If you have not listened to our story before, you're probably like, what? How do you save yourself twice? I was married once before, waited until marriage to have sex, and then unfortunately I was widowed. And so then Dustin and I
We
would
do talk about, if you'd like to go back,
Yes.
It is an unbelievable story of God's grace on her life and how she got through that.
Incredible. God is so faithful. And then when we started dating, we also chose not to have sex outside of marriage. So yes, twice I saved myself. I'm just racking up those jewels on my crown in heaven.
Well, they're going now. Everybody's shutting you down. And Lord's like, well, guess what? In those Jewish spirit, I was like, can't celebrate you now if you're going to indulge on the earth. Come on now.
Oh, okay. Well, today.
No fun fact.
Oh, no. What?
The other night, our son Jericho, comes home from school and he's like, "Hey, Dad."
Oh, this is gonna prove your sneaky athleticism to the audience.
Maybe we posted a video. I don't know, but I don't think you got to edit this one. But my son Jericho comes home. He's 12 years old, and he's like, "Dad, we were at recess today, and we're all just kind of like laying on our backs, looking at the sky. I don't know what they're doing. They're resting, waiting to."
Kids are weird.
Yeah, kids are weird. They're going to the next class, whatever, and they go to get up, and every kid does what every human does, kind of rolls to one shoulder and gets up, and he goes, my one friend, like, put his hands behind his neck and, like, kicked up and landed on his feet. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And I was like, I can do that. He's like, but you can't. And I was like, you want to bet? It's called a kip up. I did them all the time in Taekwondo when I was 11. I can do it.
When you almost got your black belt.
I'm 36 years old. I can still do a kip up. I know I can. I go in the garage and try it once in a while until I still got it. And I was like, hey, watch me. And I did have to go in our room because it's carpeted. I was a little afraid. I went into our room, and guess what? Nailed it. Still got it. Did the kip up, landed on my feet. My son is shot. He's trying it. He can't do it. I'm like, look at you, can we do it? I'm kidding. I didn't make fun of our son. I was like, well, buddy, you can do it. I'm trying to coach him up too. And I did it again. I was like, oh, here, let me show you again. I'll show you again. Did it again. Nailed it. Woke up the next day, couldn't move my neck. Woke up the next day like I had been in 3 car wrecks. That's how I felt. And deciding that my kip up days are over. My martial arts days are over.
I mean,
So-
maybe it's been your body probably felt like you had been in a car wreck because maybe it's been a minute since you had that fast of movement.
Yeah, I know I'm not the quickest to go to bed. All right, like I get it. You don't have to tell the whole world. I don't move nearly as quickly as I used to. You know?
I mean, that story actually perfectly sets up what we're talking about today. We're talking
What does it, babe? We're talking about not being attracted to your spouse. Does that set that up? I just teed you up, didn't I? I just teed you right up to talk about not being attracted to your spouse anymore.
That's not what I meant. I meant how our bodies are aging. I meant- Okay. We should probably cut the mics and just start over at this point. Wow, if you're still listening, wow, we need to like send you a gift card for a free coffee or something because I don't know what is going on. Okay, what I was trying to get to was that sets up perfectly the fact that we're talking about as we age, our bodies change. And so sometimes people hit this place in their marriage where maybe they say, my spouse isn't my type anymore. My spouse doesn't look the way they looked when we first got married. They don't act the way they acted when we first got married. And that so easily can become a place of resentment for marriage. So that is the idea that I want to dive into today.
Listen, I for sure do not look or feel the way I did married. It's funny because when we got married, we were young, 23. Yeah.
Yeah.
23 years old when we got married. And I mean, we were kids. And then started having kids. Had kids at 24, 26, 29. I remember like fearing 30. Like we were doing youth at that time. And I can remember like all of my like interns and DAs, like our youth leaders, like they all knew like I always said I'm almost 30. Like,
I think you were like 27 and you're like, I'm almost 30.
yeah, like I started saying almost 30 for you. And then all of a sudden I was like 36. He's like, where 30 go? Like I'm almost 40 now? Like what happened? I don't know how those years flew by so quickly, but I think the youth probably kept me young and aged me at the same time. Mm-hmm. And so I definitely have a few more grays from doing youth ministry, but also felt like, you know, they kept my shoe game strong or whatever.
That's true.
And
You still have a strong shoe game.
you know, I try. Always been a big shoe fan, and so and if you're wondering, fun fact about Dustin, a third fun fact: I'm an MJ guy. So LeBron is not my GOAT. Maybe the best athlete ever, not the best basketball player ever. MJ is the GOAT. Don't argue with me in the comments, or do. I'll get after it. So that's where we're at.
All right.
All right, let's talk about marriage.
So let's talk about marriage. Let's talk about attraction and love and this idea that, you know, feelings change as physical appearances change. So does that mean our love for each other changes?
Sure, our love for each other changes, but it deepens. It changes in the best way. And, you know, think about the iconic verses, passage in the Word of God about love, right? 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient, love is kind.
Does not envy, it does not boast.
Well, here's the deal. Love is patient, love is kind. That's almost all love is. Everything else is what love is not. It's not envious. It's not boastful. It's not self-seeking. Right? So much about that verse talks about what love isn't. Oh man, love is patient. That means it lasts a long time.
Long suffering.
Even when things change, right? And love is kind, which means it goes out of its way for the good of another. Nice is not me. Kind is active. Nice is not a fruit of the Spirit. Kind is. And so if love is patient, that means it endures the test of time. And if love is kind, that means it goes out of its way to make sure that the good of another is taken care of. And that's what love is. Love is not a feeling. Nowhere in 1 Corinthians 13 do we see it say love feels like.
Right.
Doesn't say that. You know what love feels like? Love feels like work.
Mm-hmm.
That's what love feels like. I heard somebody say the other day, it's, what was it, 10% attraction and 90% commitment.
Mm-hmm.
That is so good. Like, and that may sound, I don't know what the opposite of vain is, but it's like, oh, come on. Like, you should be attracted to your spouse. I agree. I
Yeah.
do should be attracted. I should want to work to be attractive to Heather. Like, I should want my body to be attractive to you. I should want to, like, to be honest, if it were me, I'd probably be sleeved up. I'd probably be tatted up, like, I don't know, throat to ankles.
You do you, boo-boo.
But I know for a fact that you don't think tattoos are super attractive. You don't mind them. I have them, and you don't mind them. But you're not like, oh, tattoos are my thing. And if tattoos aren't a thing, then they're not going to be my thing. Like, sure, I like them. I don't like them so much that I'm going to just, like, be tatted up and you be like, just not really my thing. Like, I would rather be more attractive to you than, like, have tattoos all over my body. Again, love tattoos. I think they're awesome. And I think they're a great expression of art. I'm an artist by nature. I'm creative by nature. But I've got a couple, and that's great with me. And
But I wouldn't love you any less if you decided to get tattooed.
And you've always told me, hey, like, if you want tattoos, go get more tattoos. Like, if you're gonna be tatted up, that's great. And I appreciate that. And I believe you. I believe that. I also want to make sure that I am putting myself in the best position to be the one that you're attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to make sure that I do work hard to I guess be, who you fell in love with and who you are attracted to and be the man of your dreams. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I want to be the man of your dreams. However, I'm going to miss tomorrow
Yeah.
every day. And as I get older, I'm going to continue to miss the mark and some of my conduct and some of the way I look for sure. Like, someday I'm going to be 80 and my body is going to fail me and it's going to fade away and it's going to be wrinkly and all the things. And so how do we have a love that stands the test of time?
I mean, I think the word tells us, in Proverbs 31, when it talks about the virtuous woman, it says, charm is deceptive, beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord will be praised.
Come on, babe.
And I think that that's the same, I could say the same thing about a man, charm. I mean, of course, like when we started dating, the charm was off the charts. I mean, you were swaggy, just throwing out all the lines and you still do. You still.
Guys, all I had was what I said. I just had to be the funny, charming guy because, the attraction had to grow. I'll say that.
Whatever.
I was a little key. I was a little, had a little faux hawk, a little emo kid. So,
Anyways, what I was just saying is that the word, it tells us that the things that we see on the surface, of course, are initially what attracts us to someone else. But what we fall in love with over time is who they are. Guilty pleasure. I like watching the show Love is Blind sometimes because it is based on I'm not like the Married at First Sight where they've never even met each other. I'm not a fan of any of that. But Love is Blind, I think, is different because it's a cool concept of like truly falling in love with someone for who they are and not what they look like. And then obviously we see it play out most of the time to where it's like, well, there's not physical attraction, whatever. But
the fact they go on their honeymoon before they get married. Not a fan of that.
Not a fan of that.
Or living together before they get married. Also not a fan of that. Totally. The idea, I want to fall in love with this person because they are, sure.
Yeah.
Great concept. Don't know how the world goes about it. But yeah, great concept. You and I created a friendship and had a long distance relationship.
Long distance friendship.
Not long distance friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not that we didn't find one another physically attractive, but I wouldn't say that I was like you saw me and was like, oh, that's the man of my dreams. I hope he has a great personality. I think you got to know me and was like, I think he can get fit. I think he can I think I can put some style sense in him and I can make this work. Okay.
Oh my gosh. You make it sound so much worse. Wait, we should have like little clips pop up on these episodes, like photos of us when we first started dating. It actually is pretty comical to look back at. But I mean, a lot happens over years that you're with someone, like for a woman, pregnancies happen and my body doesn't look the way that it looked before I had babies. nor do I think it's supposed to. You know, it's like we put this pressure on ourselves as women to have this body of an 18-year-old that has never bore life. And of course, my body is going to change when it grows and carries and births an entire human being. Add multiple times on top of that, like it's ridiculous to expect it to look the way it did before. That's not to say that I shouldn't be mindful of taking care of my body. There are things that come with it, like stretch marks that, you know, I mean, sure, if you're a laser therapy type of girl, go for it. You can try and change it. But also, like, those are things that, I mean, honestly, we should wear as a battle scar. Like, we should be proud of the fact that our body did exactly what the Lord designed it to do. But also, we should be mindful of keeping our, you know, our body. The word says that our body is a temple of the Lord, taking care of our body physically. And yes, we are going to age. Yes, our bodies are going to slow down. Yes, we're going to get sore from doing a kip up in our bedroom. You know, like what?
Or toe touch for our daughter who does cheerleading. Tried that one the other day too, and almost pulled a hamstring.
I mean, those are back to back days. Dustin is really putting this into action. He's just really trying to stay young for me over here.
Trying. I see your pain.
But as the beauty fades, as, you know, all those things on the surface that initially attract us to each other change as they were, you know, supposed to, we are left with something that's so much more than that deep connection. And, you know, we are three-part beings, spirit, soul, and body. And so as three-part beings, I think there are three different areas of intimacy within our marriage. And so if we get to this place of feeling like, I'm not my spouse's type anymore, my spouse isn't my type anymore, that feels like a very superficial statement. But I think the heart of it is that something feels like it's missing. Something that initially drew us to each other feels like it's missing. And so what would you say to someone who says, can that intimacy be rekindled?
I want to go back for a moment if I can. We spent years meeting with couples, and we've heard all three scenarios. We've heard the scenario where a couple has physically grown, unattracted to one another or whatever. It's like, man, my husband's body has changed. He's let himself go, or my wife's body has changed, or whatever. And it's like, man, this is not, like I was so attracted to the fun we had, but now we're a kid and we're having so much fun anymore. Or not, like I'm not attracted to their body anymore, whatever. So physically the attraction wanes. And then we've learned the couples that it's like, man, physically they're maybe they are, more attracted to each other than ever physically. It's like, no, I think they're beautiful. I think she's gorgeous. I think he's handsome, like whatever. But the emotional connection just isn't there.
Right.
Right. And they've emotionally grown disconnected to one another and said like, man, emotionally, they're not my type anymore. Like, I don't like their humor. I don't like their personality. I don't like what, like they've changed and we used to get along so well and now we don't. Or maybe they got married from outside pressure or because of a baby or because of another, it's like maybe they think they made a mistake and we would argue differently. And so, and then some spiritually, it's like, man, emotionally we communicate fine and the attraction is there fine, like sex life is fine, but man, spiritually we're just on two different levels.
Yeah.
And
that's a third of, I mean, that's huge.
Relationship. And so we want to be able to speak to all three of those. And I wanted to speak to that because I think there are three. This isn't just about physical attraction.
Totally.
There's three different ways. There's many ways, but three specific kind of, areas that we can speak to. Emotional, which includes like your personality, your mind, your will, your emotions, all this, right? Your heart. Spiritual and then physical. But what was your question?
The question was, can that intimacy be rekindled?
Yes.
And obviously the answer to that, we believe is yes. And I think the first question to ask ourselves if we are kind of at that point in our marriage is to look at those three areas, spirit, soul, body. Which area does it feel like that is lacking? Is it one? Is it all three? Because that changes our approach of how we attack this and how we really go after captivating that intimacy that we once had again.
Yeah, it's really good. So yes, the answer is yes. The answer to the question is absolutely. You can rekindle intimacy in any of those areas. You can rekindle attraction in any of those areas. But it starts to be transparent and honest. Like we have to be honest with ourselves, we have to be honest with our spouse. And I think there's a way to go about that. I don't think that we just keep our spouse like, man, you are just not living the part anymore. Like, you don't look anything like what we're like. I think that when we're going to get to physical intimacy, we've got a couple of points that we want to cover. We're going to get to the physical part, but I want to say this. If you look at your spouse and can say, physically, they're just not my type anymore, what are you allowing to be defined as your type? Because I think that when we get married, we establish that our spouse is our type.
Our spouse is our standard.
Our spouse is our standard. And you're my type no matter what, no matter how your body changes, no matter how you look. I mean, if God forbid we had a house fire and we came out of it and our skin was affected by it, right? And we walked out of it and we had no hair and like, I mean, things change. What if I lost an arm? Like, things change.
I mean, what if your wife got pregnant and was so sick and the only thing that made her feel better was carbs, and so she gained 50 pounds her first pregnancy?
And what if your husband, to feel for her and his grace for her, also gained 30 or 40 pounds?
You did not gain 30 or 40 pounds.
But things change. Your body changes. So what are you allowing to define the standard for you?
Right.
What are you looking at saying, well, that's my type, and that's not my spouse?
Right.
Because I would argue that we need to allow or make or demand that our spouse be our type. Like, my spouse is my type. I think we talked about this in other episodes, but the world idolizes our opinion, and we idolize humanity. We idolize our feelings. We idolize our own well-being over the life that God has called us to live. And the life that God has called us to live is a life of covenant, a life of covenant with Him and a life of covenant with our spouse. So if you're in covenant with your spouse, guess what? That's your spouse, and that's your standard, and that's your type now. And so you don't get to define. You get to redefine what your type is, and that's a blessing. It's a blessing to say, man, I get this person for the rest of my life, and I get to craft and mold this thing into what we want it to be. And we get the opportunity to rekindle our desire for one another. So I think it's less going to your spouse being like, hey, here's how you can become my type again, and more born to God saying, God, create in me a desire for my spouse and allow me to take these thoughts captive and make them my type. And thank you, God, for my spouse.
Yeah.
I'm probably jumping on a little bit.
No, and a part of that also is we have a responsibility when we step into marriage to safeguard our marriage. And part of safeguarding our marriage is not allowing room for there to be feelings for someone else. Will there be attraction to someone else? Well, sure. I mean, the Lord has created us to be attracted to the opposite sex. And so are you going to see another girl who is attractive to you? Sure. Am I going to see another guy who is attractive to me? Sure. But we are called to safeguard it in the sense that we never pursue that attraction. We never allow there to even be an inch that could become a foothold. Because when someone comes to us and says, hey, I have feelings for someone else, it's like, hang on a second. Attraction and feelings are two different things. If feelings have been developed, that means you've pushed past the point of initial attraction and you've opened a door somewhere to allow a relationship to start to happen there. And so part of that safeguarding is making sure that, we're not spending time alone with the opposite sex, that we're not putting ourselves in those situations that could be brought into question, that could even allow for a more intimate conversation. Like we, as believers who are seeking to live out marriages that are centered around the Lord, we're called to live by a higher standard. And that looks like having stricter boundaries than some people. And the Lord tells us to do that so intentionally because if for so many reasons, it protects us and it protects our marriage. But this is part of it, because if I never even allow that door to be opened to pursue feelings for someone else, this idea of you not being my type, we're having a completely different conversation at that point.
Yep, I agree. And we need to honor each other with the way that we speak. Right, the way we speak about others, the way that we, again, guard our hearts and our minds and our eyes. We've talked about how, when we're watching UFC fights, we look at ring girls and all things. We also don't watch movies with nudity, and then we don't have celebrity crushes.
No.
That's not a conversation that comes into our home or has ever come into our home, and it's not something that we think on. It's not something that I'm like, oh man, my celebrity crush. I can it's not like we didn't have childhood crushes. It's not like you can be like, oh man, JTT when I was a kid, was the guy, right? Like Topanga, like you feel like there wasn't a human
Topanga.
being on the earth that wasn't attracted to Topanga. You know what I mean? Like, or a male human being on the earth. It's like, of course, it's funny to talk about my childhood crush or whatever, but we don't talk about past relationships. We honor your marriage with Nathan. We
Yeah.
honor our story. We honor your story. But we don't talk about past relationships. We don't talk about how anyone from our past measures up. We don't talk
Right.
about we don't compare our relationship with other people's. We don't compare one another to other spouses, right? Like you don't
And
compare
why
me to
is
any
that?
other
It's
husbands.
because we are the standard for each other. I mean, it's exactly what you talked about. Like, you are my standard, I'm your standard, period, end of sentence.
And we should hold one another to a high standard. We should have high standards in our marriage. I should hold a high standard for myself as a husband. I am a husband who helps around the house, who doesn't allow you to get up and do something without offering to help as well, or without trying to see it first and take care of it. I try to outserve you. I want to be a husband who speaks well of you. I want to be a husband who honors you with my words and with my actions. I want to be a husband who meets your every need. Like all of these things. I want to be a husband who looks, like who takes care of his body and is attracted to you. Like all of those things. You hold yourself to a high standard as well as a wife. And I appreciate that. And so we want to hold ourselves to a high standard. And I think that when you honor your spouse and you honor yourself, you will do that for one another.
Right.
But maybe you didn't have that standard for years. Maybe things have slipped. Maybe you both gotten to a point where you're not happy with the way you look or the way you act or where you are spiritually or any of those things. That's okay. You can start right now.
Yeah.
You can start fresh right now and say, man, this is us. This is our marriage. Let's get healthy physically, emotionally, spiritually. Let's begin now. And let's start from here and let's start to rekindle some of those passions right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about some nuts and bolts of how exactly we can do that. We hit on the fact that we are 3-part beings. And so we're going to attack these areas in a 3-part way. So first, rekindling emotional intimacy. This is not an exhaustive list. These are just some ideas that we think you could use to potentially rekindle that emotional intimacy. 1, prioritize time together.
Yeah.
Quality time, whether that's going on a date, going on a walk together in the evening, having coffee together in the morning. We know when you have kids and they are, running around everywhere, it's more difficult to do that. You have to be intentional. You have to get creative sometimes with what that looks like. Put the kids to bed earlier. Carve out that time. You wake up earlier to spend time together. Like, yes, it takes work. It takes intentionality, but as does anything. Anything worth having is worth fighting for, right? And so that is what we have to do when it comes to emotional intimacy.
Relationship equals time spent.
Yeah.
If you're not spending time with one another, you are going to grow apart. That's the natural human progression, right? That if you're not constantly course correcting toward one another, you're going to grow apart from one another.
Yeah.
And so, you have to have time together, and not just time together, but intentional time together, like
Yeah.
you said. And make space for hard conversations, make space for meaningful conversations, make space for what your spouse loves. I'm going to make space for Love is Blind. She's going to make space for Thursday Night Football. It's just the way we live, right? Like we are going to make space for what each other love, and I'm going to love it with you, and I'm going to.
I wouldn't say I love it.
No, you don't.
I don't. I really don't watch.
You're posting or working through Thursday Night Football, but
yeah.
Yeah, that's all good.
Yeah.
I don't. You will hear me out. You will hear me talk about Shea dropping 55 in double overtime against the Pacers, and you'll be excited for me, excited for the Thunder.
Pumped.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, emotional intimacy, prioritize quality time, have deep conversations. This is beyond the business, beyond just the logistics of, are you getting the kids today? I'm dropping them off. We're going from this to that. Having deep conversations about what do you want to be doing in 10 years? If you could do anything, if money were not an issue, what would it be? How can we make that happen? What are your goals? Like, just anything beyond just the bare minimum is automatically going to start kind of rekindling that emotional intimacy if that's an area that's missing. Another one, express appreciation to each other. Man, this one's huge. It's so easy to just get trapped in our grind of you're taking out the trash and I'm doing this and whatever it is, and truly not seeing each other. But like, even just the times that you see me doing the laundry and it's like, hey, thanks for folding all the laundry. It's like, oh, he saw me, like and not that I do it for that, but just giving each other that shout out of like, hey, you're doing a great job. It goes a long way.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So how do we rekindle physical intimacy? Well, I said one of the ways that you can rekindle it within yourself is to make your wife your standard, right? If you really genuinely feel like you are no longer physically attracted to your spouse, make that a you issue. Make it you. Maybe your spouse has let themselves go. Make it a you issue. Make it about you now, and say, God, I want you to put the desire in my heart to see my spouse as attractive, and I am going to work for that, and I'm going to speak it into existence. I'm going to tell them, man, you are beautiful, you are gorgeous, you look great in that, and I'm going to use those words. I'm literally going to speak to that part of me that doesn't believe that, and I'm going to encourage again my spouse, but in a way that also reminds me that I'm attracted to you, and reminds me, and again, I've never dealt with that, but
You can be
just
honest.
it's like a married knockout, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, when I was pregnant, wow.
Oh, stop. I thought you were beautiful pregnant. So, I'm not just saying that.
I mean, if you like a busted can of biscuits, that's about how I felt.
Oh man. Hey, you know what? That 50 pounds was well spent because our babies were healthy and
Because he came out 9
huge.
pounds.
Our babies were gigantic, and I apologize for that. I was a huge baby. Didn't grow up to be a huge man, but I was a huge baby. So, anyways.
Anyways, okay, physical intimacy. Another one that I thought of is even just non-sexual touch.
Yes.
Of course.
Sexual touch.
And sexual
No
touch.
non-sexual touch. Again, is that daily grind.
Yeah.
Right? That daily just
It's like just
daily grind up on, you know what I'm saying? It's just the daily like hand holding and rubbing your shoulders and giving you a hug or kissing the way out the door or just holding one another when you wake up in the morning. Like we are not cuddlers. We are not. I am a hot sleeper and we are not cuddlers. But
I do love receiving a back rub though.
do love the back row. One of the things you pray for in a husband. And that's right. And so, yeah, just those daily physical touch things that have no agenda, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to touch you that doesn't think, what is he trying to get from me? But just shows you, man, he really loves me.
Yeah.
Right? Touch that leads to nothing is a way to build physical intimacy because it just shows I love you and I'm showing you that I see you and I desire you and I just want to put my hands on you.
Yeah.
Just because you're so attracted to me.
Yeah. And then, of course, there is the sexual touch. Obviously, that's something that you need to pursue. If you're in a season of maybe that being a dry spell in your marriage, prioritize that. Yeah. And it might feel a little rocky jumping back in at first, but it's like riding a bike. You're gonna get right back into the swing of things like you never stopped. Something else, dressing up for each other. I know that sounds so silly and superficial. I remember when we had our first baby and I stayed home, so grateful to be able to do that. And you went to work and everything in me wanted to just, not shower and just exist and all the things of the newborn season. But I remember someone telling me early on, like, you still need to show up for your husband. And he's going to show you grace. Of course he is, but you still need to show up for your husband. So I can remember days that it was like, shoot, Dustin's going to be home at 5. I am still in my pajamas and it's 4:15 and going and changing and maybe putting on a nicer set of sweats, but like putting on a little bit of mascara, a little bit of lip gloss, brushing my hair, like at least trying to make myself look like a better version of what maybe I was feeling in that season. And that sounds so silly, but for me, it was not because I thought, oh my gosh, he's not gonna, want anything to do with me because I look a wreck because I haven't slept and whatever. It was never that. It was me showing you that I cared enough to put forth effort for you. Not that you expected that, but that was just the value that I placed on you.
Yeah, it comes back to that honor thing we were talking about. Like,
Yeah.
hold a high standard for ourselves. I think you're beautiful without makeup. I think you're beautiful in sweats. You did their yesterday sweats. You know what I'm saying? like I didn't need you to do that for me. I didn't demand that you did that for me, but I did appreciate the fact that it was like, oh, she like went out of her way to throw on some mascara and some lip gloss and probably just as much for you as for me, right? Like you wanna present yourself and all things, but also it's like I saw that and was able to be like, man, she did that for me.
Mm.
Like, and I appreciate that. Like I appreciate that she cares enough to think like, hey, I'm out of my way, jump in the shower real quick, put some makeup on, get dressed. And again, like I've actually told you before, like I wish you'd rock sweats and them at the ball often. You know, you're like sometimes too well put together. Like I think you're beautiful both ways, and so I didn't need you to be put together all the time. But however, me just I think that I needed to be able to look at you and say, hey, I appreciate that you did that. Like
Mhm.
I didn't need you to, but I do appreciate it. And it's not, I don't want to shoot down the fact that you did. I don't come up there, you don't need to shower for me today. Like, I don't need you to do that. I don't need you to put on lip gloss. Like, you're home. Why you putting on lip gloss? Like, for me to say those things, it's like, well, can you just appreciate what I did? Let's just appreciate one another. Like, let me just
Yeah.
appreciate you for going out of your way to do that for me, even though I never asked for it.
And that goes even beyond the newborn season. I mean, just dressing up for date nights. It's like, sure, you've got to scramble sometimes and find the babysitter and this and that, but maybe doing a little something different with your hair or putting on makeup or putting on, a nicer outfit. Like just us simply doing that proves to ourselves like that we are putting our best effort forward. We are bringing our best self to the table. And so we feel more confident, and confidence is attractive. And so naturally, if I'm doing that and I'm feeling more confident with the way that I'm presenting myself, you're going to be attracted to that. And if you're doing the same, I'm going to be attracted. And then it's this really beautiful cycle of adding some fuel to that fire that we're trying to rekindle.
And sometimes we're getting dressed up just to go sit by rock, eat something chocolate next to a dude wearing sweatpants and t-shirt. But you know what?
And that's okay.
We got dressed up. We felt good about it. We ate our favorite dessert in Tulsa. We're just unique recommendations. Hit us up. But it doesn't always. It's not always about where you're going. It's not always about. It doesn't have to be a super nice date. It doesn't have to be you going and spending a bunch of money. It can be you going to sit down at Applebee's. But if you want to dress up at Chili's, go get the triple dipper. But, ew. Also, one of the greatest meals in Tulsa. Okay, in Major City.
No. Everyone, please excuse
Oh
Dusto.
man, I would put those Southwest egg rolls against any appetizer on the planet.
That is disgusting.
Fantastic.
Oh my God. We need to move on. We need to move on. Rekindling spiritual intimacy.
Create opportunities for the Spirit to be. And we always start with this: invite the Holy Spirit into your marriage.
Yeah.
Pray together. Seek the Lord together. Take notes together. Be in the Word and be focused on one thing. Say, hey, we're not moving on from this until we find the answer. We're going to seek God every single day. Do a fast together. We fast together throughout the year, and it's some of the healthiest, some of the biggest transitional moments in our lives that come out of fast. I would say most of the big transitional moments in our lives have come
We
out
should
of
probably do
fast.
that more often.
Yeah, we probably should. Like, just even a 1 day fast, even saying, hey, on Thursday, we're going to skip breakfast and lunch. Let's just fast and believe God for this one thing. Let's fast and believe God for an answer. Hey, let's get in the Word together. Hey, let's be praying about this. Or, hey, Monday through Wednesday, we're going to do whatever that looks like for you. Working in those moments of spiritual intimacy together where you come together and have a united vision is such a big deal.
Yeah. And then another one that we thought of that we wrote down is serving the local church together.
huge.
Find a place to serve and serve together. Naturally, that is going to unite your vision. That's why it's so important to be planted in a local church. But your vision will be united in serving the house together, and that's going to trickle into other areas of your marriage.
Places you in community.
Yeah.
It allows you to find a vision if you don't have one. It allows you to attach your will to another man's vision and to the vision of the house. I mean, there's something so healthy about serving in a local church together. We serve separately. I run a men's breakfast. You do separate with women. Like, we do things on our own.
We also serve together sometimes too, though.
And we greet together, and we host union tables together, we've done baptisms together. Like, we've done prayer team together. Like, there's things that we've done together, and that is so healthy that we have both. I want to be able to do stuff with my guys and have spiritual depth with the dudes that are around me, and you need to have spiritual depth with girls as well. But we also want to be able to serve together. We lead our young marrieds group together. Like, that is something that I wouldn't trade for anything, and definitely has created a spiritual intimacy and depth in us, far beyond anything that we've done. Far beyond anything we've done even together. Like, that's such a big deal.
Yeah, that's good. Well, to wrap this one up, If you are feeling like you're in this season of your spouse not being your type anymore, please, please do not check out. This is the time for you to press in. And so, how do you do that? You first identify which of the 3 areas you feel like are lacking, or maybe all 3 of them are, and then you attack them with some of these things that we said. Rekindling emotional intimacy. I'll hit these again. Prioritize quality time, have deep conversations, express appreciation for each other. Physical intimacy, non-sexual touch, sexual touch, date night, and presenting your best self to each other. And then rekindling spiritual intimacy. Pray together, study the word together, and serve together. I promise you, if you focus on any of those areas, you're going to feel your heart posture start changing toward your spouse, and your marriage is going to be greatly affected because of it. And that is how we make our marriage greater today.
Yep. That's good, babe. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We love you guys. We appreciate y'all. We are praying for you. If you need anything at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, our website, greatermarriage.com. You can email us, connect@greatermarriage.com. Please reach out if you have any needs, any prayer requests, or any questions for us. And you have a great week. That'll be great.